What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you are new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into Batman issue number 119. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with the Batman run. And I know there are quite a few Batman comics that we need to get to, including I Am Batman and Detective Comics. And we'll really be diving into that in the near future. But for today, we are going to be talking about Abyss. And right now, it is speculation that Batman Incorporated had something to do with the death of Abyss. With Batman Incorporated having a new benefactor, Batman is going to have to learn to fight something that is just as good in the darkness as he is. Now be sure to buy the comics, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking back up at the crime scene of where supposedly Batman Incorporated had murdered Abyss. With Batman and the detective investigating this crime scene, this is where we get the arrival of Lex Luthor, with Lex Luthor letting him know that once Bruce Wayne lost all of his fortune and was no longer able to support so many different ventures, like sponsoring Batman Incorporated. And so because of that, Lex Luthor has stepped in to ensure Batman Incorporated stays on the up and up. And I find this interaction very interesting because Batman seems to have no clue that Lex Luthor has been sponsoring Batman Incorporated, that he has been providing all of the funding so it stays in operation. Now, Lex Luthor, he could have tried to find a way to hide this from Batman, but you would think the world's greatest detective, he would have already been on the ball with this information. But Lex Luthor, he did not come here alone. And this is when all of the local police department, with their rifles, they lift him up and they start unloading at the sight of Batman. With Batman dropping a smoke grenade, he makes very quick work of these guys, cleaning them up, hanging them upside down with a sign on their chest saying, "See you soon." And that is what takes us to the restaurant of Bruce Wayne. And Lex Luthor is here to have a discussion with Bruce Wayne. When they were back at the crime scene, he had insinuated that he wanted a very specific wine, and Bruce knew exactly what he was talking about. A bottle of wine that is easily valued at $20 million. With him popping the cork on this, he pours a little bit into his glass, but then he takes every last drop and pours it onto the ground. Really just a huge power play, saying that I have so much money that I can just pour this on the ground and stare at you directly in the eyes. But really just getting down to the nitty gritty, he is letting him know that he's come to the realization the world, it needs Superman, and the world also needs a Batman. But currently, Batman is sitting here without his greatest weapon, his family fortune. And as he goes on to talk about how Nightwing just gave all of his money away, saying how he went soft, this is where Bruce, he kind of loses it a little bit. He loses his temper, grabs Lex Luthor, and is about to knock him for a loop. But telling him not to get emotional, what he is proposing to Batman is for Lex Luthor to be the sponsor behind the bat. That with his backing, he could be the best Batman that he could ever be. And before he says no, he really wants him to think about it so he can show him that he's not the same Lex Luthor that he used to be. And with a show of good faith, he lets him know that Abyss's body is currently sitting at the police station, and they will be moving it to a private, secure lab where there can be a legitimate autopsy. Or at least that's the line Lex Luthor is going to give us. But saying that once it is inside his laboratory, the both of them, they can sit down, they can go over all of the forensics, find out really what is going on. That way both of us will know if Batman Incorporated is guilty or innocent. But with Bruce Wayne disappearing from the conversation before Lex Luthor can even turn around. And that is because Batman has headed out to find out what is going on with this body. trying to reach it before it can be taken over by LexCorp. With a little bit of help from his detective friend, he is able to sneak in just for a small amount of time to be able to go over the autopsy by himself. And when he opens that body bag up, he quickly learns this is not Abyss. Abyss had died 2 days ago. The body that is in this bag, it is months old. So Batman's first thought is someone had to have already taken his body and replaced it with whoever's cadaver this is. With there being some kind of substance inside the mouth, Batman goes to investigate, but this is when the lights flicker. And with that flickering, it goes to darkness. Something different, something new is on the horizon. Using his night vision and infrared goggles, he is scanning the entire room looking for anybody that could be the culprit to this. Throwing down a flashbang just to try to break up the darkness. But with this flash, he sees nothing. But he knows that there is someone here, someone that is using their darkness to their advantage. And from that darkness, this is where we see Abyss jump out at Batman. With him countering this attack, the two of them, they go toe to toe. And as the two of them fight, Batman, he tries to get some kind of information, trying to figure out who Abyss works for and why he would frame Batman Incorporated. But Abyss doesn't seem to have the agenda of trying to take down Batman Incorporated, letting us know that his only master is the voices in the darkness. Now at this point, Batman, he's relatively impressed. Being one of the few individuals to work in darkness so good, seeing Abyss be able to take him on in this manner, it makes him ask the question, how are you doing this? And Abyss lets him know, you should know this because you made me. And he tells Batman to go back to Gotham, to leave this place and never return. Because if you stay, you will get lost in the Abyss. And that is where you will stay forever. With a quick swipe, we see Batman gutted. Going across his stomach, he is beginning to bleed out all over the ground. With the lights coming back on and Abyss nowhere to be seen. With a detective rushing over to Batman to check on him to see if he may still be alive. Not appearing to be breathing, not appearing to be conscious at all. As he begins to open his eyes, he sees nothing but darkness. With his eyes completely blacked out, it appears Abyss has done something to him, has taken the light from him, has taken his sight from him, and has left him in the Abyss. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I like this new story arc. I thoroughly am enjoying it. We're finally getting away from the whole Fear State thing, which we still have Fear State Aftermath to cover in Detective Comics. But we're finally getting away from Fear State, from Future State, and we're finally jumping into some new stories, new characters, and putting us all the way in the South China Sea. Now, after everything that Batman has been through, this is more like his getaway to get away from Gotham just for a small time. But obviously, Batman Incorporated needing help because they were framed for murder. But now that Batman knows that Abyss is still alive, there is no way that you would be able to try Batman Incorporated for murder. And so while they may be off the leash, whatever Lex Luthor is up to, we all know that it is no good. More than anything, it looks like he is trying to gain control of Batman by being his beneficiary. And we've also seen what he has done in the Superman Son of Kal-El line, with him going up to Jonathan Kent. With Superman off-world, he came up to him to try to start some kind of new relationship. Now, for anybody that knows Lex Luthor, this is definitely some kind of facade. A man who always works behind the scenes, always has a trick up his sleeve. We can only imagine what he has in store. And though while he's not working in the United States, we see him outside of the United States, possibly trying to gain allies like President Bindex. And it is very interesting that they created a character like Abyss, who works in the darkness like Batman, but appears to be even better in that darkness. Now, we don't know why, we don't know where he is trained from, we don't even know Abyss's actual name. What we do know at this point is that Abyss is going to be a real player against Batman in the coming issues. But what I suspect that is going to happen relatively soon is we are going to learn who this master is, who the voices in the darkness are, the ones that speak to Abyss and tell him what to do. Could it be Lex Luthor manipulating the situation, or is it something more sinister? Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.